Hey, Teresa,
Yeah.
when you see like title slides, so like it'll say like think like an entrepreneur and it'll be like part one. They're like
Hmm.
the all blue slides.
Yeah.
When you see those, like when I'm switching topics, you can just go right, like keep it on for like a second, but then you can go right to the next one.
Okay.
Just because most of them, it's like we're switching to a new topic and there's really nothing, and then it goes into the next slide. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
to for less of next slide, next
Next
slide,
slide.
next slide.
Yep. So the one like right now, I'm looking at page 6. So think like an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You're going to
Yeah.
say
So
it.
like
I'll go to the next one.
correct. So like that one, I would say keep it on for a second because I'm going to transition to say let's start talking about what it takes to run a business,
Yep.
and then take a second and then go ahead and shift it right
You
out.
got it.
It may just help with a little bit of the next.
Yep. I get it. Next slide, please. I know.
Next slide, please.
I told you can do the
Uh,
highlighter thing if you want. Just have your pencil.
no, because I'll be like back, back, back.
No problem. Here, I'm gonna have my disclosure up when
Hmm.
she switches it over to me for a second while I just introduce myself really
Okay,
quick.
great, great. It's not as warm as it was supposed to be today, but I'll still take it.
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah,
70s still, right? I didn't even check.
By me, it's 66.
Let me see. I'm out by the airport, so let's see.
I'm closer to the lake out here, so we
Yeah,
get
it's
it's a little cooler.
73. So,
Ah,
that's pretty much ideal.
mm-hmm. Oh, if
yeah.
it could be like this every day, I would love it.
Uh, I know I'm looking at taking a trip to like Scottsdale, Arizona around November.
Oh, that
Everybody
would be
says it's
nice.
like picture perfect there in November. You know, 70s perfect, That's what it is most of the time. And then you've got your real hot months, obviously. But
Yeah.
I have
How
a friend
things
that
are
moved
nice.
out there and she's like, this place was made for you. It's tons of restaurants and golf everywhere.
That is you, Laura.
I
Maybe
know.
look at it for
Think I might
retirement.
might have to retire there now, yeah.
Yeah. I have a niece that went there and she loved it. They're staying there. Well, she was in Okinawa,
Huh.
Japan, and now she's in Arizona, and they decided to stay in Arizona when she gets out. So I'll have a place to
Wow.
visit at least. Yeah. They're in Scottsdale.
I don't know. Lived
Yeah.
in California for 15 years, and I have to say, you can't beat the weather there. It's just
Mm,
perfect.
Which part of
yeah.
California were you?
In the Los Angeles area.
Okay. Nice. Very
So
nice.
we had a couple of weeks in the early August where it would get over 100, but rest of the time it was just pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
Of course, they're having so much terrible weather with all the mudslides and the floods and the fires and
Mhm.
earthquakes. I'm kind of glad I left.
Yeah.
At
There's a lot
least
going on.
near the Great Lakes, we don't usually suffer too much from those things. Although, we've had some really high winds recently.
Yes, that scares me. But my husband always says we're pretty safe, so we're not leaving. But I said, you know what? You never know if the weather changes that much. We'll see. But we've had a mild winter, and everyone was saying it was going to be so bad. It wasn't. So I'm okay with that. But I just wonder what it's going to be like in the years to come.
Will be in the tropics maybe.
That's what he keeps saying. We're going to flip. We're going to be Florida weather all year round. I said, we'll see about that. I would love that.
I don't like the humidity.
Yeah, the dry heat, the California weather, I agree with you there. My sister moved to San Francisco and my best friend moved to Long Beach, and we've gone both places. The the weather is perfect. I said if it wasn't so expensive, we'd be out there.
Yeah, the dryness I think is just so much more comfortable.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
And
I
when
will
it's
not.
really hot, if you sit in the shade, you're cool because there's no wetness in the air.
Mhm. Yeah, which I love.
So we've got about 5 minutes left. I think we're all set this time.
Do you guys hear me okay? No choppiness or anything like that?
Nope. Sound
Okay.
good.
I'm waiting for my new internet to roll in here any day.
Have you had any trouble since?
Not as no, we moved it into the thing into closer to a window because I
Yeah.
read something about that online. And to be honest, it has been better, but I don't know. We just didn't have any problems at all
Yeah.
before. I just can't risk it, So whatever. I'm gonna
Well,
pay
hopefully
more for less speed. I'm gonna pay more, but it's better. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll be there by Monday.
yeah. That is the hope. Now I have to switch everything back to the other one. So it's like every TV, every device. I'm gonna have to, go back and fix it to the other one.
Will they set it up for you, or
Passwords.
will you have to do
No,
it?
I just did the self one. I mean, they
Okay.
just mail it to you. If you do that, they gave you like $150 gift card.
So they don't have to pay someone to come out. Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty techie. I think I can figure it out.
I'll remember that, Laura. Next time
Plug it in. Plug it in. That's what you do. Plug it in.
Just
If it doesn't work, unplug it and plug it back in again.
Exactly. Reboot. We'll shut down. So funny.
That works most of the time if you have a problem.
It sure does. It sure does.
That's the first thing they tell you. Hold the button in until it resets.
Yeah, count to 10. Count to 10.
Yeah.
Start it again.
By the time you call support, you've done all those things, and then they want you to do them all again.
Yep, exactly.
It's insane. Speaking of waiting for support, we're having this issue with this NOPEC out here in Menor around our gas and our electric and stuff. And so I wanted to call and ask a question the other day, and it was a 2.5 hour wait on the phone to talk to someone.
Wow.
I'm like, oof, somebody hates their job right now.
Yeah. I'm seeing so many people post about NOPEC right now and the issues and how high the bill is. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really high, but it's interesting because they keep saying that the rates are going to go up, so it may be actually best to stay, but they've been saying that for years, so I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Just gotta figure out what to do or what they can. What can they do?
Yeah, you just have to switch providers, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm going to start the webinar.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Start coming in.
Perfect.
This meeting is being recorded.
I'll put my slides up. Welcome to those of you who are just joining us. We will be waiting a couple minutes and then we will get started. If you checked your email today, you did get a copy of the workbook that is associated with the webinar that we're doing today. But you will also get another copy when you get a copy of the slides and a link to the recording. So I think I will go ahead and get started with our score slides. So again, welcome to everybody. We're delighted that you chose to spend an hour with us this afternoon, and I think you'll find it very worthwhile. But before we get started with the Business 201 webinar, I'd like to give you a little information about SCORE. SCORE is a nonprofit. Our mission is to foster vibrant small business communities, and we do this through mentoring and education. We hope that every person who is a small business owner has the support and the resources they need to be successful. We do understand that small businesses, which are over 90% of the businesses, drive the economy, which is particularly true in the Cleveland area over the last few years. So we're very pleased that we have so many people interested in starting small businesses. SCORE is the largest network of free volunteer small business mentors. We have over 250 chapters across the nation, and we're able to call on any one of the 10,000 other volunteers to help you out if we don't have somebody in the Cleveland office who's able to help you. So we have entrepreneurs coming from all walks of life. We have 10% of our clients are veterans, and over 50% are women. So we provide mentoring, which we're still doing mostly remote. We do provide webinars like the one that you will see today. But we also have a website that has a tremendous amount of resources, tools, tips, blogs, not only upcoming webinars, but a lot of recorded webinars. So if you have a few minutes, go and take a look at it. Our work is supported by the Small Business Administration, but also by quite a few organizations and businesses in the Cleveland area that want to see small businesses be successful. And Chase Bank is one of those, so we're delighted with that. This is a snapshot of our website. You can see if you go here, it's very easy to navigate. You can find a mentor, take a workshop, browse the library. If you decide to look for a mentor, there's this short form that you have to fill out. But if you tell us specifically what business you're looking at, it makes it easier for us to match you up with a mentor who has a similar background and will be able to help you. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Teresa and Laura, and they will go ahead and give you their take on Business 201.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thanks for having us. My name's Vanessa Barger. Teresa's fine too. I'm the community manager for Chase, and I work with Laura. I'm a partner of hers in the community. Our roles came out of our racial equity commitment that Chase started in October of 2020. We've got 4 focus pillars, and what I love about this is financial health is the most important for us to focus on. We bring financial health to the community in regards to general banking, what Laura does for the community around business owners and helping them access capital, market. She's got several different workshops. The one she's going over today is Business 201, so we thank you for joining. We also have home lending workshops that we do in the community, as well as job fairs that we have openings, of course, in the city of Cleveland and surrounding. So I will turn it over to Laura, of course, to go ahead and get started.
Thanks, Tressa. I appreciate that. So you guys won't see me when you see the slides today. Unfortunately, I'm having some technical difficulty. So Teresa offered to kind of advance the slides for me. So you will see her in the corner. But I'm here live speaking to you. So I do appreciate you joining. So as Teresa mentioned, my name is Laura Gibbons. I am a senior business consultant for Chase Bank. So most of my time I spend mentoring minority entrepreneurs as part of our racial equity commitment, as Teresa mentioned. It is a program that I try to help clients to, meet them where they're at, help them grow. That's why we partner so well with SCORE. They have a lot of the same values when it comes to mentoring businesses in the community. Our criteria is a little bit different. You don't have to be a Chase client, but, actively generating revenue, been in business. So we're not quite in the startup phase with the clients that we're helping right now in this program that we offer from our mentorship perspective, just because we're kind of already in that space where you're generating revenue and now you've got some questions around balance sheets, income statements, how to actually get approved for a loan at the bank. So if there's ever a need or want to learn more about that, obviously, please feel free to reach out to me on that. Okay, so today we are going to cover Business 201. We had just done a class on Tuesday around the power of capital. So if you're joining us again for this one, thank you again for joining that one as well. And we will continue to do different courses. And, there's surveys that'll come up at the end that you can kind of say, hey, these were great, or we'd love to learn more about this, that, or the other thing. And, we'll do our best to try to get some material together and provide the information that everybody's looking for. So Business 201, you have a workbook. Don't feel like you need to kind of toggle between. You can look at it afterwards. There's going to be some activities that you can do inside the workbook that I think will help you later on. When you see the slides, if you're on your phone or a computer, sometimes people say, oh, they're so small, I couldn't really see. It's not meant for you to function for the actual screen. Everything that you see on the screen when it comes to activities will be in your book, and you'll be able to kind of see that much better when you open up the link for the actual workbook. Okay. We will do a Q&A at the end. So if you can save your questions, maybe jot them down, and then or add them into the Q&A section throughout when you're thinking about them, and we'll cover those at the end. Okay, so let's get started. So this first slide that you're going to see, next slide, please, is from Damon John. He is a leading entrepreneur. I'm sure you guys are familiar. He's from Shark Tank, and does a ton of other things with small businesses. He turns good ideas into profitable businesses. So this quote that you're seeing on the screen is actually from his book called The Power Shift. It's your why, right? It's what gets you excited to work on your business. It's the passion behind your project, your love of family or community, the fun you have doing what you do, right? And I think a lot of times we have to really think about why we have this idea or why we want to do this business, and that kind of keeps us and drives us as we kind of continue. All right, next slide, please. So before I go on about what we're going to cover, inside your book, one of the very first pages that you're going to see is going to be an entrepreneur's reading list. Fantastic books in here. There's literally probably 15 different books in here that are highly recommended for entrepreneurs like yourselves, that I think is some great reading material that you might want to reach or get to and read it if you can. Okay, so what we'll cover today, think like an entrepreneur. Okay, it's an introduction to concepts that can help you find new opportunities and think bigger about what's possible. We'll establish a foundation for business growth. So this is going to be a little bit of an overview of your structural and organizational concepts. So being an S corp over an LLC or a sole proprietor, we're not going to get into a lot of tax type questions. We'll go high level on that, but really just more of a structural perspective. Develop agility and resilience. So tips to help you maneuver the ups and downs of actually running your business, and putting people first, right? So a concept that can help you be a better leader for your business, and then just keep pushing, right? A look at how what we'll discuss today can help you kind of solidify your business plan or rethink some things that maybe you haven't thought of before. Okay. All right. So next slide. So think like an entrepreneur. So let's start talking about what it takes to run a growing business. A great business needs a great leader, right? Your business needs more than a great idea. It needs you. Okay. Your mindset makes the difference. Next slide, please. I love to talk about the growth mindset. If anybody's ever taken a class around the growth mindset, it's really fascinating. There's a ton of TED Talks out there around the growth mindset. You might have heard someone say, so-and-so is so smart and talented as an explanation for their success. Brains and talents are helpful, right? Don't get me wrong on that. But if you believe in your ability to learn and make choices, if you're adaptable, right? If you think of yourself as someone who can fall down and get back up again, then you can be successful, right? A growth mindset can make you smarter and more talented. And most importantly, it will keep you from giving up when things get hard. Next slide, please. So there's a lot of research that backs the idea that people with a growth mindset do more and do better. Because the opposite of a growth mindset is actually a fixed mindset, where you think, and I'm sure you've heard someone say before, like, oh, I'm just really bad at math. I'm just really bad at math. Well, no one's bad at math. It's just that we just don't apply ourselves, right, to learn it and be better at it and to grow in it, right? So there's really nothing you can't do unless you put barriers in that for yourself, right? So something that you might want to continue to ask yourself is, if not you, then who, right? What makes someone else more qualified than you because they worked harder for it or they studied harder for it, right? It's all about your personal growth and setting the goals for yourself and putting them out there for yourself to achieve. Okay. So how do you develop a growth mindset? So here are a couple of ideas on the screen that we'll talk through. So number one, don't run away from challenges. Okay. Embrace them as a chance to learn and do more. When you face a setback, get to work on your comeback. All right. Understand that when you're working hard, you're getting better at what you're doing. And over time, you will master it. Don't be afraid to listen to constructive criticism, right? Look for ideas and strategies that you can use. Look for inspiration, right? Someone else out there has done something similar to what you're trying to do. They're proof that it's possible for you too. And I love to use this example when I talk about this. I think about when you're 1 year old and you're learning to walk, right? You fall down, you get back up, you fall down, you get back up. You never said, I'm just going to crawl for the rest of my life, right? There's something that we develop over the course of time where we get this can't mentality, right? It's not something that we're born with. I mean, because we put ourselves to challenges that we never thought possible when we're kids. So just kind of have to keep that in perspective, that once again, you could do anything that you put your mind to. Okay, next slide, please. And at the end of the day, it all adds up to grit. All right. There's one more concept that ties it all together, and that's grit, right? It's a determination, a belief in growth, and the motivation of your why to help you push faster, harder, to learn more. Okay. It took some amount of grit to make it this far, right? So keep channeling that energy and determination for your business as well. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're going to get into, and this is where your book's going to kind of come in handy. So don't worry about it if you don't, have it open, like I said. But a lot of times we talk to businesses about, you kind of start your business because you love it, right? You're doing what you're good at, you're doing what you love, but there's all these other things, right, in the background that nobody likes to do, like the books and the accounting piece of it and all these other things, right? Unless you're a CPA on this call, I apologize. But something that you have to kind of structure and think about when you're putting together your business is your purpose, your vision, your why that we just talked about, right? These are all things you kind of have to put together. So know your purpose. So your purpose is why your business actually exists, right? It's what your business offers to the world and the difference it can make in an industry, in a culture, or even the world. So they'll give you an example of your purpose inside the book. Here's a great one. So this woman owned a bookshop, okay, cultural center and community space in Dripping Springs, Texas. Its purpose is to initiate genuine community relationships across cultures and languages to bring people together for mutual growth and understanding, right? So what is your purpose for the business? I encourage you to Google different purpose, mission, and vision statements for some of the well-known companies like Coca-Cola, Google. It's really kind of eye-opening that they capture exactly what they do in just a few words, right? It's pretty awesome. So the next part is your mission. Okay. So your mission supports your purpose. So it's what you do and how you do it, how you translate purpose into action. Okay. It's what people can trust your business to actually deliver. So here's an example of a mission. So for more than 45 years, BMS Family Health and Wellness Center in Brooklyn, New York has designed and delivered comprehensive community development and quality health access delivery systems. Its stated mission, okay, is to provide and promote integrative, high-quality healthcare and social services to enable every individual and family in the communities it serves to achieve lifelong total health and wellness. Okay, so you see how that's kind of different from the purpose of the business, right? What it intends to do, and then the mission, right? What's kind of behind it. And I know it can get a little cloudy with that because it almost sounds like it might be the same. But that's why I encourage you to Google some, because it'll really kind of separate it out for you a little bit. So then the last one that's important, go ahead. I'm not sure what slide you're on. So go forward all the way to vision. So the last one is the vision. Okay. So let me give you an example of what we have here for the vision part of it. Harlem School of the Arts has a vision that goes much further than either Harlem or the arts. Its vision includes enabling each student to achieve their full potential in an increasingly competitive global economy. Okay, so this is what they see happening because of their business, right? This is the vision, why you created this. This is what you want to see happen, right? This is why you created this product, because this is going to help A, B, and C, right? Or there's a need for, right? So I think sometimes coming up with these three things can really help you from a direction for the business. All right, so next slide, please. So I'll give you some tips here for writing your purpose, mission, and vision statements. Okay. You want to focus on the big ideas. So like it pushes you to be your best. Okay. Bring emotion into your statements. Business isn't all dollars and cents. Okay. That's why we talked about the why earlier. Most of us want to care about the businesses that we work for, partner with, and even buy from. What kind of future do you want to see? So looking ahead, can it help you set goals and give you inspiration? And remember that you don't have to say everything, okay? A sentence or two will be more impactful than a long, complicated statement. Right? And then once again, you got to ask trusted friends, family, colleagues, or mentors for input to help you craft statements that truly reflect your business and its potential. Okay. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so I've covered, hey, we got to kind of create this mission, vision, and purpose of the business, right? The why behind why we do it. But let's be honest, what about the profit, right? Because we don't do all this just for fun, okay? So what's important to understand is that your vision isn't possible without profit. So growth can't keep happening unless you're eventually profitable, right? So focusing on profit can help you focus on what you do best and can create a foundation for growth. So think of it from this perspective. Has there ever been a product that you loved, right? That was like your favorite thing that you would buy, and then they discontinued it, right? Well, why did they discontinue it? How could they not love this? This was the best product ever, right? You can't understand it. Well, reality is that most likely whatever this product was not making them money, right? So you can tell by looking at the profit, if you're the owner of the company, that, hey, it's costing me more money to actually produce this than I'm actually making, right? So sometimes, even though you love that product as the business owner, and this might have been the first product line that you ever created, if it's not selling and it's not making you a profit, then you have to be able to make those tough business decisions to be able to continue to grow your business. Okay. All right, next slide. So there's something you could do. So most people have probably heard of a SWOT analysis before in different classes or groups that you've been a part of, right? It's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So you might need to do more thinking about where your or what your business actually does well and how it fits into the marketplace before you can even think about writing your purpose, mission, or vision statements, right? Because you need to kind of figure out, what am I strong at, right? What are some of the weaknesses that I have? What are some opportunities that are coming down the road, and how can I better prepare for that? Okay, so don't be afraid to kind of think through the SWOT a little bit before you even go to the mission, the vision, and the purpose statements to ultimately still drive the business plan too. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to shift into some of these structural questions. And like I said, we're going to keep this high level, okay, because I'm not an accountant or a certified public accountant. So I cannot offer advice when it comes to that. But from a structural perspective of the business, we're going to kind of go high level, okay? Each business structure has benefits and challenges. You can go to the next slide, please. Some of the questions to consider include this. Are you comfortable being liable for losses and damages? What kind of flexibility do you need as a business owner? How important is it to have full control over your business? What kind of funding opportunities do you want to pursue? So how you answer these questions can pretty much give you an idea of what kind of structure that you should be. Okay. So you can go to the next slide. So the first one is the most obvious, right? This is a sole proprietorship. This is typically how most people start up, right? You're the only owner. It's simple to establish. You've got complete control over the business. However, you are personally liable for losses and damages caused by your business, and you must pay payroll taxes, but can deduct business expenses on your personal tax return, right? So that's going to be on a Schedule C. It's a few pages into your personal tax return. You can kind of do it all in one. Very easy. Most people start out that way. All right. Let's go to the next slide. So the next one being a partnership. So similar to a sole, except there's two, right? More than one, not necessarily two, but more than one. And a partnership is similar to a sole proprietor. in a couple of different ways. So it's simple, once again, to set up, right? It's cost effective to establish a partnership. Partners share control over the business. And once again, both partners are personally liable for losses or damages caused by the business. Because remember, a lot of times, sole proprietor, single member is under your social security number. Sometimes you can get a tax ID. And so if you're part of a partnership, okay. But you're still liable because it's still technically under sole proprietor kind of status. Okay. Partners must each pay their own payroll taxes, but each partner can deduct a portion of the business expenses on their personal tax returns. Okay. All right, next slide. So I don't know why we jump up to C Corp, but we will go back to the most obvious, which are the LLC and the S. But think of C as, we're talking large companies, right? Multiple shareholders can have an ownership stake in the business. Setup can be complex. It's going to require some professionals, maybe a CPA or attorney to help you out. Typically, you have a board of directors that controls the company, which really just means that the company can continue to exist even after the founders leave or die. Owners are not personally liable for any damages caused to the business or by the business. And there's the potential for double taxation since the business is taxed and then earnings of individual owners are taxed separately in their personal income tax filing. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Then we have our S Corp. All right. So S Corps, kind of a in between, I would say, an LLC and a corporation with a couple of similarities and a couple differences. So S Corps, you got multiple shareholders. Once again, they can have ownership stake in the business, but there are limits to the number of shareholders and who can actually be a shareholder. Setup can be complex. So once again, I would recommend probably using a professional to help you with that. Once again, you have a board of directors, so similar to a C Corp. Which means the company can continue to exist even after the founders, once again, have left or die. Owners are not personally liable for losses or damages caused by the business. It does fall onto the business for that. And the S corporations pay no corporate taxes. The business profits are passed through as a distribution to the owners. Okay. All right. So the next one is the most common that a lot of people know. If you're not a sole proprietor, typically you're a limited liability company. So limited liability company is multiple shareholders can have ownership stake in the business. Setting up an LLC can be complex, but honestly, you probably could do it yourself too. It's not as complicated. There's two different types, really. It's a member managed or a manager managed, and that's really just more of a structural issue. Has more to do with, who's actually running the company and who's actually owning the company. An LLC is not required to have a board of directors, but it can choose to implement such a structure. Regardless, owners can fully participate in the business operations. Owners are not personally liable for losses or damages caused by the business because, once again, we're talking about a tax ID number here and a structure set up. And earnings are passed through to the owners and are not subject to double taxation. All right, let's go one more slide. So there's actually an amazing slide inside the book. I think it's around page 17. Yeah, so it's going to kind of go through what structure fits your business best. And this is going to kind of, how I was asking you those questions in the beginning, it's going to go even deeper into, some of the things you may want to think about. And if that's important to you, then it's going to check the box of which one actually makes more sense for you to be, whether it's a C Corp, S Corp, LLC, partnership, or sole proprietor. So I think that'll be a really good kind of takeaway tool that you can look at going forward. Okay, next slide, please. So I want to shift gears about streamlining operations. Okay. So you want to deliver the best possible customer experience, right? You want to create opportunities for increased profit and growth. And a good place to start is to look closely at your operations. Can you work more efficiently? Okay. And this is something that you have to be asking yourself all the time, right? Is there something out there that could make your business run smoother? Is there something you could be doing to have quicker time to get payment for products you sell or work that you do, right? Constantly reevaluating those processes throughout your business cycle. Next slide, please. So here are a few tips that can help your business to get organized. All right. So first, you got to find the right space that meets your current needs and gives you room to grow. Okay. The worst thing you can do is get into a space, get into a community that you outgrow within a year's time, and now you have to pick up and leave, and you're not real close to where you were before, it's almost like starting over, right? Because you're going to lose some of your client base. Create a system for taking customer requests and feedback. I cannot stress that enough. There are so many softwares out there that can send clients a email after the fact. You get them all the time in your email. How did we do? Tell us how we did, right? I mean, no one buys anything on Amazon or anywhere for that matter that doesn't have a review. I mean, it's very few and far between. You don't want to be the first one to figure out if this is a scam or if this product actually works, right? So reviews are really, really, really important. Paper files and digital files need to be organized and accessible only to the people who need them. All right. If you have employees who work from home, you'll need a central place where the tools and documents that you use are under the control of your business and people can access them. Otherwise, your business isn't going to function correctly. Please, low cost accounting system. You got QuickBooks, Wave. They can help you keep track of expenses, invoice payments, and more. We talked about this in our class on Tuesday. Wave is a free program. I fully support it. I think it's an amazing software. It does three things. It can help you link to your business account, to your business account, credit cards, any way that you're getting paid or paying people. It can reconcile things for you and show you in a pie chart, graphs, listing, and it allows you to do reports like balance sheets and income statements. If you link everything together, it automatically flows the data right into the software, and then you just have to put a calendar together of, hey, I'm going to go in there, once a week, twice a week to maybe categorize some of it because maybe it showed up as an expense, but really it should be for inventory or something along those lines. Okay, you have to do it because if I call you tomorrow and say, hey, there's a grant available for you, I need a balance sheet and income statement, and you are not using some form of software, you're going to miss out because you're not going to have the time to go back and recreate something like that. Okay, does it all for you. Have to be more efficient. A scheduling application and shared calendars can make it easier to set up meetings with your team or people outside your organization. And I say this every single time. Sometimes you only get one opportunity. And if you miss it because you don't have it in a calendar and you're not sure, that would be a shame, right? So make sure you get some type of a scheduling application. Plan for quarterly tax payments and make sure you have the cash to make the payments on time. Okay. A lot of people forget about the taxes. That's a big one. All right, next slide, please. So to make your process more efficient, you need to know how work actually gets done, right? So start by inventorying every business activity throughout your company. So sourcing, inventory, manufacturing, fulfillment, service delivery, marketing, sales, accounting, treasury, right? Understand that process. Sure, when you're smaller, that might be you, right? You wear all the hats, but there's still a process that has to be done in order to make that effective, right? So, I was just on a call today earlier that, we're creating a mapping process for how work gets done through a certain task that we have to do, right? So we want to start it from the beginning all the way to the end so that when you have breakdowns, whether it be in delivery or inventory or whatever, that your process and you can identify where the need to clean it up is, right? If you're just winging it, it's a little bit more challenging, right? Next slide, please. So with your map in front of you, you can analyze your process, right? Where do you typically experience slowdowns? Where do people often make mistakes? And what innovations in your industry might work for your business, right? I'm mentoring someone right now who has a moving company. And I love it because, he needs to automate a little bit. So think about it. Think about like certain things that you do or services that you do where you get a reminder via text the night before, or you have to push C to confirm or something like that, right? There's all these softwares out there or how many people got an email reminder about this call today or a text message reminder about this call today, right? That's software, right? That is software that you can use to help streamline and automate your business. You don't have the time to be behind a computer sending individual emails to people, okay? So if there's innovations in your industry is what I'm trying to say that make your business more efficient, make sure that you're paying attention to that. Next slide, please. And then any data you have or can collect will help you be better or help you better see what needs to change and help make the case to anyone who might be skeptical about it. Okay. And once you've quantified what's falling short, you can then set goals and track data that shows whether you're successful in meeting those goals, right? Because if you made a change on something, typically what we like to call a pilot, we do here, right? Let's pilot this process for a week or 2 weeks and see, does it make it more efficient, right? And if it doesn't, where do we experience some slowdowns? Where can we maybe change some things? Okay. Okay, so next slide, or you're on it. Perfect. There is a business model canvas chart inside your book that you'll be able to use for a more holistic view of your operations and how they relate to the rest of your business. And don't be afraid to kind of write it down, because I think that sometimes it helps you to visualize the connections a little bit better of how things actually flow, so that you can be as efficient as possible. Okay, and that's going to be on page 21 in your book. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so develop agility and resilience. So you can position your business to better ride the ups and downs of your industry. We've all seen how the impact it is to build a business, or how important it is to build a business, excuse me, that you can adapt quickly, right? COVID-19 showed us that businesses that couldn't think on their feet quickly suffered, right? Restaurants had to shift to takeout immediately. Companies that didn't sell online had to get a website and figure it out, right? How do we ship? How do we do all this, right? I mean, I think about it from a banking perspective, right? We all shifted our jobs completely into PPP and everything else when COVID happened, and we all had to learn, how to do something differently so that we could help our clients, right? So being able to do that is really important. I'm not going to ask the poll. I mean, you can answer in the chat if you'd like to, but I just want you to kind of think through it a little bit about what is your top priority right now for making your business more agile and resilient. Okay, and there's a couple of selections on there. I want you to kind of think through that. Is it build a bigger cash buffer? Is it potentially secure new capital? Maybe you have poor cybersecurity. You need to find new customers, invest in tools and equipment to meet your future needs, or is it to maybe strengthen business relationships in the communities that you work in, right? So you'll be shocked, maybe not. I don't know. Next slide, please. To know that 33% of businesses say saving more cash for a buffer is their top priority. So cash flow is the single most important factor in building a resilient business. If your business has available cash, you're in a better position to take time for planning and pivot to a new strategy. If a lot of people during COVID, if you didn't have a bit of a cash buffer, you didn't have enough time to pivot to be able to recover from it, right? So that's a really important one. Next slide, please. So we'll kind of talk through a bunch of the different categories that were on that survey. So the one was to invest in technology, right? So effective tools that can help your business be innovative and more efficient are essential. Even if your business is not using many technology tools right now, it's important to keep an eye on what's available so that you can implement a technology solution when a need arises. And I always think about Amazon, right? Amazon started in his garage with 2 guys and some books. And have you ever seen a video of what an Amazon center looks like inside? I mean, there's little robots that are pulling, a carton or containers off the walls or off the shelves and, taking it down to a conveyor belt. I mean, all of that built over time, right? It didn't happen overnight. But if he wasn't open to the idea of all of the different innovations that were happening, it wouldn't be what it is today. All right. Next slide, please. So conduct a business technology inventory to understand what tools you have and what you need to do to manage them effectively. So you can make a list of your hardware and your software, collect basic information about each of them, review what you need to do to bring your technology up to a reasonable standard, and then create a calendar for maintenance, right? Because just like everything, your software and hardware and things like that, they become obsolete. But you think you just bought them last year, and we all know that it's like typically you got to add like 2 years because everything happened 3 years ago. We think it happened last year, but technically it was 3 years ago, right? So it's always good to kind of keep that top of mind and be checking out your stuff. All right, next slide, please. So then the other one on the list was protect your business from cyber threats. You got to train your staff members to recognize suspicious activity, not fall prey to phishing and other attacks. Trust me, I could tell you horror stories. You can go to the next slide, about some of the fraudulent things that happen from the banking side of things. So that's really important for your staff. Work with an independent consultant to assess potential vulnerabilities in your systems. Make sure your email is secure and that staff members know how to spot potential email scams. There was a really big one that was going on. Well, it still goes on, but let's say you're the owner of the company, you typically send emails, you travel a lot, you send emails to your assistant that, sometimes writes bills out or pays bills. And, you send an email that says you need to have funds wired to a customer. It's not an unusual request. You've done it a million times. Well, that email gets intercepted. The routing and account number gets changed. The wire still goes out. And before you know it, the money's gone because now it's in someone else's random account that grab that email. So it happens, believe it or not. So when the bank calls you and says, hey, we just want to confirm this wire, do not yell at us because we promise you we feel that something might be suspicious and we're just trying to protect you. All right, so review payment procedures for weak points, right? Social engineering scams take advantage of businesses that lack safety checks. Require strong passwords and consider multi-factor authentication, right? It's a process that requires users to enter an additional piece of information, such as a code sent to a mobile device. We all know that, right? You say, hey, got to enter this text code or we're going to, send you a text. That didn't exist 3 years ago, 4 years ago, but now it does because it's needed. It's an extra layer that has to happen to protect yourself, okay? And you got to plan for worst case scenario, okay? So that you can remedy a crisis quickly and get your business back up and running. Okay. All right, next slide, please. So use digital banking. Oh, you're good. Okay. You're on pace. Thank you. All right. So digital banking can make your work a lot easier. Okay. Apps and online portals mean you can bank nearly anywhere, right? The days of having to go into the bank, you don't have to do that. We've made it so simple with the app that we have out there. Okay. Automated payments can help you pay your bills quickly and on time. You can monitor your accounts with notifications. Examples include when an account balance is getting low or there's an unusual transaction. Okay. I don't expect you to have the time to look at your account every 10 minutes. That's why you set up alerts, right? So that if something is out of the usual or you want to know when a balance gets to a certain point, we can send you a text message. Super easy, right? So we're out there kind of automatically helping you to make sure that bad things don't happen. And you can use data to understand your customers better or to manage cash flow throughout your year. Okay. Many banks allow you to integrate your accounts with your accounting software, which I talked about earlier when it comes to the software. Okay. So that's really important. And a credit card is a useful tool to manage cash flow by allowing you to pay for purchases at the right time for your business. And we talked a lot more about that on Tuesday in the Power of Capital class. All right. Next slide, please. So the last one is take your business online. All right. The pandemic has accelerated the shift of online commerce and other ways for businesses to work on the internet, right? So to begin doing business online, there are a few basic questions you need to answer. Where are your customers? Okay, choose online spaces that your customers already use and where they'll welcome you, okay? What platforms do you need, right? There are a lot of different kinds of websites that you can use for e-commerce. How will you take payments? Right? Payment processing can come with a lot of hidden fees. So make sure you're getting the services you need at a price that doesn't cut too far into your profits. And then how will you list products or services? So think about the look and feel of your e-commerce site, right? Make sure it represents you well and that customers can get the information that they need to feel confident in making a purchase. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the consumer, right? You have to think and you go on a website, right? And you can't find something or I can't ever reach anybody. I don't know how to reach anybody, right? These are things that you have to think about for your own business, right? Do you have visible contact information, right? Or do you have easy accessibility to reviews? Is the buying process easy online? Is the shipping process easy online, right? Like there's all these things that you have to kind of think about how you shop and how you would want your website to potentially look, okay? All right. Let's shift over to the people. So let's talk about the most important resource of your business, which is the people. Okay. So when you think about your team, and as you continue to grow out your business and you're hiring people, and it's very, very difficult. I know that is one of the hardest things for people right now is retaining employees. Okay. So when you have them, you got to keep them. and you got to do things to help them to get better at what they're doing and have a vision that they want to continue to do work with your company, right? That they have some options to continue to grow with your business. Okay. I lost the screen there. I don't know if you could still see it. Okay. All right. So you want to look for people who work hard at getting things done. Do they share your vision for the business? Find people who are good strategic collaborators. Hire against your weaknesses to make the business strong overall. Seek diversity of all kinds, right? Bring people who will add perspectives and ideas that can help your business, right? You want to get other people's point of views. Look for folks who are hungry for opportunities. Communicate what makes your business special so that you find the right people for you. And be honest about what it takes to succeed in the role, okay? It's critical that every hire is up to that challenge, all right? Okay, so build an attractive workplace. People want to do work that means something to them, right? When they find it, they're motivated and effective. Lead with purpose and commit to your organization's values. Create a culture that aligns with your purpose and your values, right? We talked about creating those statements. Communicate clearly. Encourage creativity, even if it means people will fail sometimes. Build an accountability for everyone, including yourself. Offer recognition and rewards for hard work to show that you see the effort and the talent people bring to work. Create opportunities for people to move up as your company and grow their skills. Offer benefits and be flexible in understanding how complex other people's lives might be. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. So this is just something I kind of want you to think about. And there's a page in your book too, on 28, that you'll be able to kind of jot down some ideas that you have. But this kind of goes along the lines of what I said earlier, about putting yourself in the shoes of the consumer, right? You have to think about your corporate crushes and what do they do that you like? And what do they do that you don't like? Right. And that's how you can create your lane. Take a little bit from everybody of the things that you like and the things that you don't want to see your business do. You can kind of create a little bit more about your brand. Okay. Just something to think about. Okay. Next slide, please. So the other one in the slide was work with professionals. So there are a lot of benefits to outsourcing complex or highly specialized work. I know that it can be expensive, right? Especially if you're just starting out. But as you continue to grow the business, you have to think about the fact that you cannot wear all the hats. Okay. You can often reduce your salary costs and gain levels of expertise and experience beyond what you can hire if you just outsource some of it, right? So a lot of times it's the CPAs and the attorneys, the bankers, your marketing professionals, your insurance agents, your web designers. You just can't do it all the time. Okay. Especially as you continue to grow. Okay. Next slide, please. Connect with influencers. So in addition to doing important work for you, CPAs, attorneys, bankers, and others are part of a professional network, right? That they can connect you to new opportunities. Okay. They all have, that's why I always suggest that we connect on LinkedIn, which I'm going to tell you to do with me after this event, because you'll start to see the things that we do in the community and who we're connected to in the community. And then you see different lists of events and people that are out there helping other people. And that's how you kind of can open up potential opportunities, not only for yourself personally, but for your business as well. Okay. So think about, like, for an example, a real estate agent, right? They're often extraordinarily effective connectors. Right? They know technicians, painters, inspectors, landscapers, lenders. Network can help them get their work done. And the agent can be a source of referrals for each one of those businesses, right? Who can you work with that can be a connector for you? Okay. So you got to think through that a little bit. All right. Next slide, please. This is one that's very important. This is to certify your business. Next slide, please. Corporations and governments. Oh, I think you went a little too far. Sorry. There you go. Sorry. Certify your business. So corporations and governments have programs to build relationships with minority owned businesses, but you have to be certified a lot of times to tap into those opportunities. So government certifications offer an opportunity to win government contracts. Minority Business Enterprise, which is known as MBE, opens doors to large corporations and puts you in a network of suppliers and sourcing agents who want to support your business. To supply a Fortune 500 company, your business needs to be stable and have the ability to fill large orders quickly. You might not be there quite yet, but it's important to know that certification is possible and that you can begin preparing your business now. The National Minority Supplier Development Council offers the MBE certification, but there are other certifications for women-owned businesses, LGBT businesses, veteran-owned businesses, and businesses owned by people with disabilities. Each certification opens up additional networks and opportunities. And you can check in your workbook on page 30, where it'll give you some more details around where you can find links and webinars about supplier diversity with a representative from Ford Motor Company. All right, so last one here, keep pushing, okay? If there's one thing you leave with today, it's that you have to keep pushing yourself and your business to reach your goals. Okay, next slide. Everything we've talked about today can help you sharpen your business plan. Okay, update your executive summary with language from your purpose, your mission, and your vision statement. Use your SWOT to help analyze and think more about the competitive landscape. Describe the structure of your business more effectively. Use your SWOT analysis and your business model canvas chart to reimagine strategies for marketing and selling to your customers. And all the good work that you're doing needs to go into your business plan. Okay, next slide. You're here because you have potential. Keep investing time in learning and keep working on the fundamentals of your business. You're worth it and your business is worth it. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to open it up here in a second for Q&A, but I just want to remind you, okay, workbooks, got a bunch of different activities that you can do in there that are amazing, that you can kind of think through some things. Please connect with myself and Teresa on LinkedIn. If you have any additional questions, our contact information is in the slides as well. And we'll open it up. Oh yeah, there's a survey on the screen too for Teresa as far as what can we do more for you as far as the educational piece. And then I know SCORE will also have something that they'll send you out as far as how this program worked for you. So, all right, let's open it up.
Okay. We will be sending out a survey probably tomorrow. So we're always looking to see if there are things that we can do to improve what we're offering you. So do respond. I don't really see any questions.
Was it that good?
I think so.
Well, if there's
Or
any further
maybe
questions down the, oh, do we have some?
Tom Davis, it says, raised his hand. So let me see if I can.
I do see one that says, where do I get the book?
Yeah, and I responded that we would be sending it out. I responded directly to that client. Okay, Tom, I'm going to allow you to talk. So all you need to do is open your microphone. Tom? I guess he doesn't want to say anything.
You might not be able to get the mic to work. Oh yeah, he said not working.
I don't know. So
Type it out if you can, Tom.
okay, his microphone is open. We can't hear you, Tom. If you're speaking, you'll have to perhaps increase your volume. Well, Maybe you could put it in the chat. Well, here is a question. Should an LLC market to a corporation? I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, that could mean a couple of different things, so I'm not quite sure either with that question, but yeah, I would need some more clarity on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a business, an LLC, you can market to any other business. So,
Of course, and especially if what you mean, because my head went right to get purchased. If you're looking to potentially get bought
yeah.
out by a larger company, means I think sometimes that's serial entrepreneur's dream is to create something, get it bought out, and then create something new. Of
So,
course, getting a nice payday in the in that process as well.
oh,
So, I see the startup capital question. So, yeah, so, if you would like to, Anita, you could send out one of the workbooks to the Power of Capital from Tuesday to Warren. It'll have a bunch of information in there for you. And obviously, if you have any additional questions from there, you could reach out to Score or myself.
okay.
No problem.
Oh, apparently Tom's sound isn't working. So,
Okay.
Anyway, I think there are good positive responses and no more questions. So I think we'll wrap it up. And thank you so much for doing this. And for those of you who attended, we're delighted that you were willing to spend an hour with us. And it seems like many of you felt that it was a great class. So we will be, again, as I say in the chat, we'll definitely be sending out the workbook, the slides, and a link to the recording to everybody who's on the call. So look for it in your email in the next day or so. So again, Teresa and Laura, thank you for spending time with us. And everybody enjoy the rest of your evening.